हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं। सो आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे डिजाइन प्रोसीजर फॉर शाफ्ट्स। शाफ्ट्स को हम कैसे डिजाइन करेंगे, उसके लिए क्या प्रोसीजर है, दैट वी विल डिस्कस एंड ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोसेस थॉरोली। माय वॉइस इज ऑडिबल टू यू?
यस सर।
ओके, एंड पीपीटी शो हो रहा है?
यस सर।
Okay, so design of shafts. So let's first understand shafts. So it is a common and important rotating machine element, supports various transmission members such as pulleys, gears, etc., mounted by means of keys or splines to transmit power from one place to another. Means the shaft is a member which is used to support the power transmitting elements, and it is a very important element member in power transmission cases. Normally the cross section of the shaft is circular, and the shaft may be hollow or it may be a solid. The cross section may be hollow or may be a solid, and it is supported on bearings, and the load which is acting on the shaft is bending moment, torsion, and axial force. So what we design and what is included in the design procedure. So the procedure is we have to determine the stresses at the point of highest loading section. That is the critical point. Means we have to determine the critical point of the shaft, since the shaft supports the various power transmission elements. So due to that, there will be a bending moment, or there may be a axial load, or there may be a torsional. So we have to determine the point which is heavily loaded, and then we'll determine the stresses at that point and obtain the cross section of the shaft. Now there are two more terms which are used along with the shaft: the axle and the spindle. So axle is a non-rotating member, and that is used for supporting rotating wheels, etc., and do not transmit any torque. It does not transmit any torque, but it supports the rotating element, and that is known as the axle. And another term, that is the spindle. So spindle is nothing but a short shaft. A shaft having shorter length of shaft is known as a spindle. But the design procedure remains the same for the axle as well as for the spindle. Now the shafts are manufactured in standard sizes which are available in the market. So the standard sizes of the shafts are up to 25 mm. 0.5 mm increment is there. Means if 5 mm shaft is there or 3 mm shaft is there, so one diameter is 3 mm shaft, then next standard diameter will be 3.5 mm diameter, the next will be 4.0 mm, and so on. And from 25 to 50 mm, there will be increment in 1 mm. That is, if the shaft diameter is 25, the next shaft diameter, standard shaft diameter, will be 26. And from 50 to 100 mm, 2.0 mm increments. So after after a shaft having diameter 50 mm, the next diameter will be 51 mm, and the next will be 52, and so on. Sorry, 52, 54, 56, likewise. And from 100 to 200 mm, the increment is 5 mm. Means 105 mm diameter shaft, the next diameter will be 110, mm. The next will be 115 mm. Now the materials which are used for the shafts. So there is some requirement. Okay, shaft they should have high strength, good machinability, low notch sensitivity factor, good heat treatment, and high wear resistant properties. These are the properties which are required in a shaft material. The ferrous, non-ferrous materials and non-metals are used as shaft material depending on the application. And some of the common ferrous materials which are used for the shaft are hot rolled plain carbon steel, and these materials are least expensive, and since it is a hot roll, so there are chances that scaling will always be there on the surface of the shaft. And to make the surface smooth, machining is to be done. When cold drawn plain carbon or alloy composition, so since it is a cold drawn, it has got its inherent characteristics of a smooth, bright finish. So sir, the surface will be smooth, and therefore the amount of machining required is minimal. Yield strength is better, and these are widely used for general purpose transmission shaft. The next material is alloy steel, and alloy steel is nothing but a mixture of the various elements with the parent steel to improve the certain physical properties. Some elements are added to the base steel to enhance some properties of the material. To retain the total advantage of alloying materials, one requires heat treatment of the machine components after it has been manufactured. So heat treatment is done. Nickel, chromium, vanadium, these are the common alloying materials. But alloy steel is expensive, and these are used for relatively severe service conditions. When the situation demands great strength, then alloy steels are used. So there are severe service conditions requirement, or we need to have strength criteria, we should have great strength, then we use this material, this type of material, alloy steel. And they have fewer tendencies to crack, warp, or distort in heat treatment. Residual stress is also less compared to the carbon steel. And in certain cases, the shaft needs to be wear resistant. And then we have to pay more attention to make the surface of the shaft wear resistant. And there are some the common types of hardening methods which are used for the shaft. For hardening of surface, case nitriding, carburizing process is there, cyaniding and nitriding, manufacturing of shafts. So they are manufactured by hot rolled and finished to size by cold drawing or turning and grinding. So there are various manufacturing methods of shafts, how they are manufactured. You will be aware with the various manufacturing processes. Cold rolled shafts are stronger than hot rolled shafts, but they have higher residual stresses, and the residual stresses may cause distortion of the shaft when it is machined. So generally cutting the keyways or the slots. And larger diameter shafts are manufactured by forging method, and then size is obtained by turning the shaft on a lathe. Now, stresses in the shafts. So the stresses which are induced in the shafts are shear stresses. So that is due to the transmission of the torque. Torsional load is the reason behind this. Bending stresses. The bending stresses may be tensile or the compressive, and that is due to the forces acting upon the machine elements like gears, pulleys, etc., as well as due to the weight of the shaft itself. Then stresses due to combined torsional and bending loads. combination of this 1 and 2. Now, design consideration for shafts. So, two methods are adopted for the design of shaft. That is the design based on strength. In this method, design is carried out so that stress at any location of the shaft should not exceed the material yield stress. That is the criteria. Okay, whatever may be the working stress in the shaft, that working stress should be less than the permissible allowable stress of the material. So this method is used for designing the shaft. So that procedure is known as design based on strength criteria basis. Here, shaft deflection and shaft twist is not included. Now another criteria, another method which is used is design based on stiffness. So basic idea of design in such case depends on the allowable deflection and twist of the shaft. What amount of deflection is permitted in the shaft and what amount of twist in the shaft is permitted. So on that basis, if the shaft is designed on that basis, that method is known as design based on the stiffness. So these are the considerations for the shaft design. So on the basis of strength, the following cases we consider for the design. Number one, shafts subjected to twisting moment or torque only, means the force or the load which acts on the shaft is the twisting moment or torque only. Shaft subjected to bending moment only, if there is a bending moment which is acting on the shaft, and shaft subjected to bending combined twisting and bending moments. The shaft is subjected to bending moment and shaft is subjected to twisting moment, and shaft subjected to axial loads in addition to the combined torsional and bending loads. So all three loads are acting in this case. Now the equations which are used, this is the bending stress equation. So that bending stress is sigma B, that is equal to 32 m upon pi dO cube into 1 minus k to the power 4, where the m represents the bending moment at the point of interest, BO is the outer diameter of the shaft, and k represents the ratio of inner to outer diameters of the shaft. That is k is equal to the inner diameter of the shaft divided by outer diameter of the shaft. That ratio is k. And for the solid shaft, k is equal to 0. That is the inner diameter is 0. Axial stress sigma A. So the relation for the axial stress, that is 4 alpha f upon pi dO cube into 1 minus k square, where f represents the axial force, that might be the tensile or the compressive. Alpha represents the column action factor, and for tensile load, the value of alpha is 1. And this alpha is known as the column action factor, and that is taken into account to take care of the phenomena of buckling of long slender members. So to take care of this buckling for the long members, this alpha is there. So that occurs due to the axial compressive load. Axial compressive load है तो एक करेगा, buckling का chance हो सकता है. Now alpha is given by these two relations. So alpha is equal to 1 upon 1 minus 0.0044 into L by K, and that is for L by K less than 115, and alpha is equal to sigma yc upon pi square Ne into L by K square, and that is for L by K greater than 115, where L by K ratio is the slenderness ratio, and this N is equal to, N depends on the type of support, that is N equal to 1 for hinge ends, N equal to 2.25 for the fixed end, and n equal to 1.6 for the ends partially restrained. In bearings, K represent the least radius of direction, L represent the shaft length. Sigma YC represent the yield stress in compression. And this is the relation for the shear stress due to torsional load. So that is equal to 16T upon pi dO cube into 1 minus K to the power. The torque on the shaft, how is the shear stress due to torsion? No. For the case of combined and axial stress, combined bending stress and axial stress. Since the bending stress is also acting in the axial direction, so the net normal stress in this case, and axial stress is also acting in the axial direction. So the normal stress in this case is given by the sigma x, that is equal to 32 m upon pi dO cube into 1 minus K to the power 4 plus minus 4 alpha f upon pi dO cube into 1 minus K square. So that may be either positive or negative. So normally shear stress due to torsion is only considered in a shaft, and shear stress due to the load on the shaft is neglected. Shaft subjected to combined twisting moment and the bending moment. So in this case we use two theories. That is the maximum shear stress theory or the gauge theory, and that is used for the ductile materials such as mild steel. The relation is TE, that is T equivalent torque, that is equal to square root of m square plus T square, and that is equal to pi by 16 tau dO cube into 1 minus K to the power 4. Maximum normal stress theory, this theory is also known as the Rankines theory. So this theory is preferred for the brittle materials such as cast iron. So here we will calculate the bending moment, ME, equivalent bending moment, and that is given as 1 by 2 times bracket m plus square root of m square plus T square. So that has to be equated with this stress, pi by 32 into sigma b into dO cube into 1 minus K to the power 4. So these two theories are used when shaft is subjected to combined twisting moment and bending moment. There is one more code that is known as the ASME design code for the shafts. That is American Society of Mechanical Engineer is given a code for the design of the shaft. And the reason behind this code is this code includes the gradual loading and the sudden loading which are acting on the shaft. Since the shaft is subjected to gradual loading or the sudden loads, there are instances when the load is gradual or when sudden load is acting on the shaft. So to take care of such kind of situations, ASME has given some code and they have modified the equations accordingly by load factors, suitable load factors. That is TE in this case becomes square root of Km into M square plus Kt into T square. That is the M here, M is replaced by Km into M and T is replaced by Kt into T. In another equation, Me 1 by 2 Km into M plus square root of Km into M square plus Kt into T square, where Km represent combined shock and fatigue factor for bending, and Kt represent combined shock and fatigue factor for torsion. And these are the recommended values for the Km and Kt. So that depends on the nature of load. For the stationary shafts, gradually applied load and suddenly applied load, the values are given by this. It is 1 in case of gradually applied load. It varies from 1.5 to 2 in case of suddenly applied load when the shaft, stationary shafts. For rotating shafts, gradually applied load or the steady load is 1.5 km and Kt is 1. Suddenly applied load with minor shocks only 1.5 to 2 and 1.5 to 2. And for suddenly applied load with heavy shocks, Km is given by 2.0 to 2.3 to 3.0 and Kt varies from 1.5 to 3. Design of shafts on the basis of rigidity. So there are two types of rigidity. One is torsional rigidity. So this is important in the case of camshaft and IC engine, where such as camshaft is there. So where the timing of the valves would be affected. यहाँ पे इस तरह का हो कि टाइमिंग या कुछ पैरामीटर अफेक्ट कर रहा हो. So for that cases we have to consider this torsional rigidity. That is a twisting, permissible twisting in the shaft. So that is given कितना होना चाहिए per meter length of such shafts. And for the line shafts or the transmission shafts, deflections, permissible deflection is this per meter length. Torsional rigidity. So the widely used deflection for the shaft is limited to 1 degree in the length, equal to 20 times the diameter of the shaft. Shaft diameter के 20 times की length के बराबर में जो deflection permissible है, that is 1 degree. So that deflection may be obtained using the torsion equation. We are familiar with this equation. T by J is equal to G theta by L, or theta is equal to TL upon JG. Where theta torsional deflection or angle of twist, ingredients, twisting moment or torque on the shaft. There is the polar moment of inertia that is given by this relation. Cross-sectional area about the axis of rotation. G is the modulus of rigidity of material, and L represent the length. Transmission shall cause huge. So this is important for me. If the shaft is of uniform cross section, then the lateral deflection of a shaft may be obtained by using the deflection formula as in strength of materials. But when the shaft is of the variable cross section, means from one end to other end, the cross section remains the same. So that is the uniform cross section shaft. But from one bearing end to another bearing end, the cross section varies along the length of the shaft. Then in that cases, the lateral deflection is determined from the fundamental equations for the elastic curve of a beam. That is d square y upon dx square is equal to m by e. We are also familiar with this equation. In strength of material, we have read this. So this is the design procedure. These are the relations which we have to use for the design of the shafts. So the simple in one line, what is the procedure of design? So it is determining the critical point in the shaft, and critical point is what? Where the shaft is heavily loaded. That is, we have to determine the heavily loaded point on the shaft length. So for that, we have to use the relations what we have discussed. जो relations हमने use किया हम उसको वहाँ पे use करेंगे. So this is all about the design procedure for the shafts. Now we'll take some problems in the next class, in which we'll consider if the shaft is subjected to only bending moment, or the shaft is subjected to only torsional moment, or the shaft is subjected to combined bending and the torsional moment. And then we'll apply these principles of design of shafts. So this is all for today's. It's okay. कोई समझ में आया व्हाट वी हैव टू डू? हमें क्या करना है, कौन से रिलेशंस यूज करना है, किसके बेसिस पर रिलेशंस यूज करना है? दिस इज क्लियर ना? Okay. So now I will take your attendance.